Looks like no one's here yet. But hello and welcome to Spaceflight Simulator. So let me just quickly make sure that chat is enabled. Alright. Quickly do that. Go back in. Okay. Welcome back to Spaceflight Simulator, everyone. Let's go ahead and get back into the game. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to commit to the goal that I had earlier. We want to get to one of Jupiter's moons and return back to Earth safely. So let's go ahead and try that. So let's start with the Earth return vehicle. So we're going to start with something like this. Getting off one of Jupiter's moons shouldn't require more than one stage, but just to be on the safe side, I think I am going to go ahead and make it two-stage. So we're going to go... Oh, not six-wide, what am I doing? We were going to go to engines, and we're going to grab one of these little ones. In fact, do we have a better one? I think... Okay, is Colibri or Peregrine better? Efficiency 180, efficiency 260. Alright, Calibri's better. I don't know which one that is, so we'll just do that. And like I said, we are just going to make this a quick two-stage rocket. It doesn't need to be anything big because we just want to get off Jupiter and back to Earth. Actually, come to think of it, maybe it should be a little bit bigger than this. Maybe we should even go for just a basic three-stage rocket, just to be absolutely safe. So we're going to go with something like this, and we'll get some legs. Make sure that these extend past the engine. Only barely, but they only need to go barely, so we'll do... Oops. Let me move myself out of the way. We will do this. There we go. And I think that's it for our return vehicle. So now we want to get... Actually, we'll get a docking port here. We'll put it on there, like so. Okay. And now we want the rocket that's going to launch this. So we're going to go with... Actually, we're going to go with an 8-wide rocket. Go all... Like, we'll just go huge for it, because we're going to need quite a bit of power for what we want to do. So let's see. That's fine. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I'm not going to be entering Jupiter, so this should be all right. Back to 8-wide. We'll get an interstage, like so. And we'll go with another... You know what? We'll do something like this. So we're going to build a rocket that looks something like that. We're going to give it some pretty big engines. These. And I might even do this. Like so. No, I'm not going to. Can I fit 2 onto it? Not really. Alright, so we will just go with the 1. And we will clip another fuel tank into that. There we go. The thrust weight ratio is 1.003, which will probably go down when I add the fairings. Let's see, actually. So, let's see, we want big fairings. This size? Yes, this size. Alright. And we want to make sure that we turn off adapt to fuel tanks. There we go. I'll show you why. Oh, actually, that one did fine. In fact, they might all do all right. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll just put a nose cone on top. All right. So that's a pretty basic rocket. We are going to give it a couple of boosters. Let's see. We'll just add some of these. Hello, Q. Hello, Demi. How's it going? Let's see, just like this. And then the engines are going to be here. So, add another one of these fuel tanks, and then one of these. And we'll clip these in properly like so. There we go. And we'll make these boosters have quite a bit of fuel. But we don't want to... Excuse me. We want to make sure that they've got quite a bit of fuel, but we also want to make sure that they will lift the thing. So there we go. 1.17 thrust-to-weight ratio. Not great, but it should be all right. In fact, we could actually go for more, because I can add boosters to the boosters. This is going a bit crazy. Oh, we've also... Yeah, that's right. Because we're in career mode and we've just unlocked everything, we also have access to the solid rocket booster, so I might actually add some of those as well if we end up not having enough on this. So let's see, if I do that and add a couple more engines here, that gets us a pretty good thrust-to-weight ratio. And then we can just do this, like so. There we go. And we'll add one more, and we'll add the nose cones on top of this. They're just down here, I keep forgetting where everything is. Alright, and then I am going to add a couple solids as well. Mostly just for delta V, because we don't, like, we've got a thrust-to-weight ratio of 1.36. We don't really need the solids, but they are going to help get us off. They're going to help kind of boost our thrust capability. So we'll just do that. There we go, and we've got 1.57 thrust-to-weight ratio. The solids will burn out first, then the outer boosters, then the inner boosters, and then the core. That should, realistically, by the time the outer boosters, or the inner boosters burn out, we should be in space. So let's go ahead and toggle everything. We're going to have most of these engines ignite simultaneously. Alright. And then these, these detach. There we go. And then these detach. And then these detach. Okay. And then we will... Actually, we'll... When should we separate the fairings, do you think? I reckon we'll be in space before... Here. I'll drop this down, because I reckon we'll be separating the fairings there. And then we'll separate this, and then these engines fire. And then the docking port. The docking port. There we go. And then the engine. Do you know what? This is a pretty straightforward staged rocket, so we'll just do all this. We can trigger the landing legs by hand. That's fine. These two I'm just going to do like that. So they all fire at the same time. Then that, and then the parachute. All right. Let's see what this rocket can do. It's definitely... it's something. It's definitely something. All right. Let's see. So we'll throttle up, and we'll start burning all of it. There we go. All right. So we're up in the air. Solids burn out, so we ditch them. That's good. All right, start turning over slowly, very slowly. Because as each of the boosters burns out, we're going to lose some thrust. Although realistically, the thrust-to-weight ratio should stay fairly high because we're burning all of them simultaneously. And as the fuel load decreases, we will... the thrust-to-weight ratio should stay about the same. If not increasing. So those are about to burn out, and what I expect we're about to see, I might actually have to... Well, I've been trying not to revert flights in the save game, haven't I? I suspect what we're going to see here is the boosters will actually hit the... Or the outer boosters will hit the inner boosters, because I put the decoupler too low. But we'll find out. Okay, we're at 15 kilometers in altitude. Let's just try to pitch over pretty much all the way now. Okay, those boosters are about to run out. All right, separate. Oh, look at that. Clean separation. All right, keep pitching over. Then once we get it above 30 kilometers, we'll separate the fairings. Here we go, 30 kilometers. We're in space, so ditch the fairings. They separate cleanly, and let's check the map. Yeah, alright, so let's try to put this into a decent orbit. So the apopsis is decreasing, but that should be alright, because as you can see, it's still getting farther away from the spaceship. So if I track this and come over here, you can see that goes off the screen. Hello, Christian, how's it going? And from here, we should be able to get a pretty good orbit. There go the boosters, so separate. And then, oops, keep burning until we get into space. Well, we're not quite in orbit, but here, we can just, there we go, circularized around Earth. So this is what we have left. Not a whole lot of fuel in there, but we do have an entire rocket to get to Jupiter with. I'm hoping that that's enough. We'll see. I'm doing good, thank you for asking, Christian. Okay, so we'll hit navigate to Jupiter, and we'll just time warp to the transfer window. Alright, let's not do that. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we are at the transfer window now. Let's see what direction we need to be facing. Alright, turn the rocket. It's a beast of a rocket, this. Like I've mentioned, we don't actually have a whole lot of fuel left in the first stage, so we'll be ditching it pretty soon. The boosters should be re-entering. I'm not sure why they're not. Might have to check that in a bit. I'm pretty sure I wasn't in orbit when I ditched those, right? They should be deorbiting. Alright. Turn over. Just a little bit. There we go. And wait for the we probably don't need to wait that long for it. So we'll just start burning here. Here, I'll show you guys the rocket in the meantime, because it's going to take us a little while to leave Earth's sphere of influence. Separate that stage, and we'll go again. There we go. Alright. And now we will watch our thingies expand. No, lo siento, yo no habla español. That's all I can say in Spanish, is that I can't speak Spanish. You played the game before? Oh, I used to suck at it too. There's a learning curve, but once you get good at it, you'll get pretty damn good at it. Alright, let's have a look at where our thingy is relative to Jupiter. Oh, we're almost out of... Alright, we have an encounter around Jupiter, so let's have a look now at where we are. Okay, so we want to be around one of Jupiter's moons, so we'll throttle a little bit up. Oh, we can throttle quite a bit up. I always forget how big Jupiter is. Jupiter's got quite the sphere of influence around it. So... Okay, let's see, which moon do we want to go to? We've got Callisto, Europa, Ganymede, and Io. I'll let you guys pick. Which moon do you want me to go to? And nothing. Chat's gone silent. We realistically probably have the Delta V for any of these, so like I said, I'll let you guys pick, or if I don't see anything, then I'll pick probably Europa. I think Europa's a pretty interesting moon. But I'll give you guys a few minutes to see if you guys have anything to say on that. Go to the rocket as soon as you go to Jupiter. Okay. Alright, I'm going to assume that you guys don't have a preference then, and I'm going to aim for Europa. We're not going to hit it originally. Just a quick disclaimer there. But we'll just aim to intersect its orbit so that it's a possibility for us. And you can see that's actually, that's a pretty damn good encounter, because look how narrow that angle is. You want to go to Io? We could go to Io. It's a lot closer to Jupiter as well. Alright, let's do that. So we'll throttle up. There we go. Alright, we've got... So we'll be encountering inside Io's sphere of influence, and we'll just... Yeah, and that actually makes it an even narrower angle when we enter, which should make circularizing fairly simple. It does raise the question of if I'll have to do a gravity assist to circularize. I don't think I will. But if I do, then that should be interesting, because I've never done a gravity assist in any of these space games, because I'm just generally not good at it. So, we'll see. Let's go ahead and have a look at the rocket. This is what we got. You really like Spaceflight Simulator? Even went to Mars 5 times, Venus 3 times, and Mercury twice. Around... I'm sorry, I can't read that. It's blocked on my screen. Alright, let's go ahead and... So we're going to be... Excuse me, I'm sorry. We're going to need to point pretty much straight up when we get to Jupiter, so let's just do that now. And then I will go ahead and start time warping to Jupiter because, well, there's no point waiting, is there? We're still actually around Earth. We haven't even escaped it yet. So let's go ahead and pick a point around Jupiter to warp to. We'll go with here. We'll time warp here. Here we go. Now we've escaped Earth and we are going to Jupiter. I might not be pointing the right way for this, I'm realizing. I may have pointed the wrong way. I think we're going to enter... Oh no. We should be good. Alright. So we're coming around Jupiter. We're going to be moving very fast at periapsis, so I kind of want to time warp to just here. And at this point, I'm going to bring the throttle all the way up. We're going to burn... This is going to burn all of our fuel, most likely. Yeah. So now we separate and we go on to what is effectively our lander. And unfortunately, this engine is not very efficient in space. So let's go with something like that. And then we want to navigate to Io. So let's pick that up. That's not going to work. There's no universe in which that works. I might... see, time warping here is dangerous because I could get a gravity assist, which actually... I could either get a gravity assist, which captures me into a lower Jupiter orbit, which would be ideal, or I could get one which throws me outside of Jupiter's sphere of influence. Oh, well, okay, it's not going to throw me out of Jupiter's sphere of influence from here, but... Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? Well, we'll try... Okay, we'll try throttling up, and we'll bring the orbit down a little bit. Alright. I'm going to warp around to here now, to Apoapsis. I've left debris in deep space, which is unfortunate, but what can you do? Alright. That is, again, not an ideal encounter. So... Given that we're more efficient when we burn at periapsis, we're just going to go back to periapsis. And we're going to keep doing this until we get a decent encounter. I'm not sure what happened there. Alright. How many engines do I have? I've got a few more stages on this to be safe. So, because I want to be able to return to Earth as well. We'll throttle up a little bit, and then... Alright, throttle back down. And we'll warp back around to periapsis. So I'm going to time warp up a little bit, slow it back down, and then time warp back to periapsis. And again, this is just to kind of boost the currently very low efficiency of the engine. So I'm going to throttle up. This rocket is not efficient enough. All right, let's find out what this encounter with... Is it Ganymede? Let's find out what this does. So let's... Oops. Do you know what? Let's turn around. Let's try to get an even closer encounter with Ganymede. Okay, stop turning, stop turning. Okay, throttle up a little. Yeah, it's not going to do a whole lot, is it? But we'll try that, see what happens. think that's going to throw us onto a higher orbit. It's a shame it doesn't show me what my orbit's going to be. I thought the game did used to do that, but that's alright. It's probably a safety measure to prevent the game from crashing, if I had to guess, so... There we go. Alright, we'll try that. Yeah, we'll try that, and we'll see what happens. And hopefully we get a slightly lower orbit around Jupiter as a result of this. Did we? I think we actually did, but it's difficult to tell. Oh no, we did. We definitely did. Our periapsis is a lot lower now. Alright, we'll go back to periapsis now, and we will continue lowering it because I don't really see any other options. Again, I don't... I love that the transfer planner is asking me to just dive into Jupiter now. You wish that you could play the game? Yeah, I don't blame you. Alright, throttle down, we're going to come inside Ganymede's orbit. Alright. Once again, we're going to just warp around to periapsis. Because again, we burn a lot more efficiently at periapsis than we would at a different point in the orbit. Alright. So now we will... Actually, that might be... We'll try the planned transfer now, because that might actually give us a decent encounter with Io, now that we're in a relatively low orbit around Jupiter. To be clear, I don't expect us to be able to get it this time round. I think this launch is a failure, but I'm going to try to work with what I do have. It does not want to let us warp, does it? Oh, it's put me... Oh, it wants me to warp... It wants me to throttle up here? Why does it want me to throttle up here? Alright, I don't know what the transfer... I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the new navigation system that they added in 1.5. I keep calling it new. I started playing in, like, 1.3, I think. And, they added this transfer mode in 1.5, and it's just not very good. I think it's meant to be more precise than it was before, but it's kind of not great. Alright. Let's keep coming in. Alright. So, at this point, we'll detach that. You can tell the stage that I intended to land on because we just ditched our landing legs. Maybe I should think about getting back to Earth, actually. We can redesign the rocket and come back. Try again later. Let's do that. Let's do that. At least we actually made it to Jupiter this time around. I'm pretty sure last time I tried this, I didn't even make it to Jupiter. So... Alright. Yeah, let's go back to Earth. When you were playing, you didn't even get to the moon. That's alright. The moon's not an easy target. Please make no mistake. Space is not an easy thing to play around in. If you even made it into orbit, you're doing well. Alright. I need 2.1 kilometers per second. I don't think I have that. I genuinely don't think I've got the 2.1 kilometers per second I need to leave Jupiter. That could be a problem. Yeah, no, look at that. I think I might have maybe a kilometer per second in this stage, and then in the next stage it's even smaller. Alright, so the rocket definitely needs a redesign. I don't think we need more boosters. I think we need a bigger second stage, because I don't need the thrust weight ratio on the second stage of the rocket, because it's going to be released in space, so any thrust is going to get us a decent distance. I probably should have used that gravity assist that I just got. If I get one with Calypso, I will turn the engine off and I'll use whatever we get there. And then we can continue from there. Not sure if we're going to get an encounter. We are. Oops. You know what? We missed it. We'll just keep burning and we'll see how far we get. You want this child to be like a video? I don't know what that means. Here we go. We're leaving a lot of debris in space on this flight. Oh, well, we only need 600 meters per second. We might actually... Do you know what? We might be able to do this. It's not going to be... it's going to be close, whatever happens. And it would be good to be able to circularize around Earth before we... We're definitely not going to be able to circularize around Earth. I'll go for... I might go for atmospheric entry around Earth, if we've got the Delta V for it. And it looks like we will. Alright. Start throttling back because we're about to get an encounter with Earth. We need to be careful because Earth does not have as big a gravitational field as Jupiter, so... Alright. Throttle back. We'll throttle up a little bit so that we actually get the encounter. It's cool. You like it? You like it live? I'll be honest, I've considered making videos in this, and I just don't think they'd be as good. I was on the fence about live streaming KSP when I started that. I do still want to get back into that, but it's gonna be a while. Alright, go to Earth. Throttle up a tiny bit. Tiny bit. Alright. Okay. I'm going to go with that, and we can fix it when we actually get to Earth. So let's try it. Here we go. It's memes. I want this chat to be a video. Okay. Okay, we should be at Earth soon. And I want to... Alright, here we go. Alright. What planet am I on? I was around Jupiter. We're back on Earth now. We'll be going back to Jupiter soon, but I wanted to land on one of Jupiter's moons, and I didn't have the Delta V for it. So we're just going to try this now. That is not what I expected would happen there. Oh, this is going to be a pain in the neck. Alright. We'll time warp here, and let's hope, fingers crossed, that we can actually slow down. Alright. Throttle up. We're not going to have the fuel to slow down. Just point at Earth, see if that works. No, we're gonna run out of fuel before we even... Alright, so that was a complete failure. I don't like reverting the flights that I make here. Yeah, we'll just exit to Space Center and we'll build something new. Alright, build new rocket. We'll hit continue build. Okay, so like I was saying before, I think we just need a bigger second stage. So if I just move this off for now, and if we go with something like... Oh, well, okay, that is the second largest. So if we go with something like that, and then... Oh, do you know what else I could do? I could also clip one of these into the engines. And then if we do this... There we go. Let's try that. Thrust weight ratio is 1.45. If I put this back on top, it should stay 1.45, I believe. Yes, it does. Okay, so we've got all of this, then this. This should have enough fuel to get us to where we were and then some. This should realistically have enough fuel to get us circularized around Jupiter, I believe. As for this, the rocket, I realize you can't see what I'm pointing at. I'm making gestures with my fingers that you guys can't even see. There's no point. Let's get rid of the fairing and let's adjust the lander. So, let's see. This needs to just be a circularization stage, I think. And then we will actually make these pieces of the rocket a little bit bigger. We'll go with... Is that what I had on it before? We'll go with this on this stage. That should be fine. And then put this back on it. And then take all this off. And we'll go with this, like so. Okay, we'll try that. What do you guys think? Do you think this should be able to get us to Jupiter? Landed on one of its moons? Yeah, I want more clearance than that. Why won't you just deploy? I can't click. There we go. Yeah, that's plenty. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. So now we go... What am I doing? We go fairings, we go to the 8 wide ones, and we just do this. Oops, that's way too big. Here we go. Keep building it up. And then we just put a nose cone on top, like so. Okay, let's make sure the staging has stayed the same. Of course, we need to restage the fairing. All right. And I'm also just going to set the separation force of the top of the fairing a little bit higher, the separation force of the bottom of the fairing a little bit lower. There we go. How many subscribers do I have? 584 last I checked. This should be publicly visible. I don't hide it. Would it be an awful idea? You know, I'm not even going to finish that. Let's just try this and see where we get. We've actually got a pretty good thrust weight ratio, 1.43. Generally aiming for 1.5. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. So that's a pretty good thrust weight ratio. Let's go ahead and give this a go. How many achievements do I have? Do you know what? That's actually a good question. I am not sure. And I'll tell you what, we'll look after this flight because, oops, ditch the solids. There we go. Yeah, I'll look after this flight because I can't check it while in flight, apparently. Well, actually, this flight's going to take a while. I'll tell you what. We'll check now, then we'll go back to the launch. I've got 8 of the challenges completed. And I'm pretty sure that's all Earth. Oh, 6 on Earth and 2 on the Moon. What's the third one? Oh, the Moon tour, right. Mercury is small enough to be our moon. Yes, it is. Well, our moon is massive. Like, it's actually insane how big the moon is in relation to the Earth. Oops. Let's end that rocket quickly. There we go. Yeah, that's much better. Oh, also, before we launch this, one thing I do quickly want to do, just move, not those, these up slightly and these up to about there. There we go. And that should keep everything moving away from the rocket when it separates. Yeah. Yeah, all right, let's try this now. I keep doing this where there's just a rocket already going. Just destroy it. Okay. Oops. All right, there go the solids. Why? All right, I am going to revert this because that was... Why did that happen? Everything was put on... Did I not mirror? No, it's mirrored. All right. Guess I need to fix all that now. Then that's right. All right, just verify that all the staging is correct. Looks like it is at a glance. If anything else staging-wise goes wrong, I'm just going to... Oh my goodness, every single time. If anything else staging-wise goes wrong, then I'm just going to roll with it. Okay, actually final liftoff this time, because whatever happens here, we're just going to roll with. We're going to let it happen. I want to get to... All right, separate the solids. Yeah, look how much cleaner that was than it was before. I usually aim for about half of what the angle in the top left is telling me to aim for. This rocket has so much power. Do you know space is more exploded than the ocean? I did. That terrifies me. And the ocean actually terrifies me as well, so... It's definitely insane to think that we do know more about outer space than we do about our oceans, though. Keep pitching over. Those outer boosters are going to run out of fuel fairly soon. Just keep pitching. Just keep pitching. I'm just going to keep going. All right. Then those are out of fuel. We detach them. You know what? I think the flight profile I flew earlier was actually more efficient. Oh, right, yeah, because I'm pushing against the atmosphere right now. What am I doing? But, like I said, we're just going to roll with it. Hello, Demi. How's it going? All right. We've got an apopsis in space now, which is good. Start aiming to place the rocket into orbit. That's fine. Okay, we actually separated our fairings before space, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. Oh dear. Actually, do you know what? That is to be expected, because we do have more weight on the second stage. And this shouldn't take too much delta V. Just keep pointing down to try to keep it as even as possible. There we go. All right. So we've got a roughly 30 by 30 kilometer orbit. That's good enough. Let's go ahead and get a transfer to Jupiter. That's out here. Navigate to Jupiter. All right. Did you know your actual name? I didn't. But we go by usernames here. My name's not actually Kleptrophes. All right. Here we go. There we go. All right, where is the transfer window? Right about there. So we're going to point our rocket a little bit more to the left. like so. All right, let's try this. Let's try this. We'll time warp around to there. I didn't point perfectly. Go ahead and throttle up. We'll see what happens. Need 1200 meters per second of delta V. I think we should have that in this stage. I hope. If not, well, I can keep making modifications to the rocket. We'll see. I'm gonna pass the moon and the captured asteroid. And we're on our way to Jupiter. I'm gonna start throttling back. All right. We'll aim for Io again. Once again, we'll just aim to be placed into low orbit here. In fact, actually, that might be even better. Yeah, so we'll try that. I want to point kind of down. So let's see. Let me just verify that. Yes, we encounter on the bottom and we escape on the top. So when we come through here, we're going to be going from the bottom to the top. So we want our triangle to be pointing kind of down. His name is Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm aware you're joking, but seriously, guys, please don't share any personal information in the chat. Here we go. There we go. All right, and we will... I don't really see any point to warping anywhere but straight to here, so we'll just warp to there. Quite a journey we're going through in space. All right, we're in Jupiter's sphere of influence. Oh, there we go. All right, so we want to capture around Jupiter. Well, let's time warp up. I probably should have added another stage that actually is still efficient in space, because the next stage after this one is... I really just designed it to get us off the moon. Here we go. Okay, we're captured around Jupiter. Oh, do you know what? We're in a much better position than we were last time we tried this, though. All right. That is fine. Let's go ahead and separate the rocket. And we'll just do that. Let's throttle up again, see where we get. Oh, we had an encounter with Io there. And that probably would have been an actually manageable one. Let's see if we get another. If we get another one, we'll try that. Actually, that was probably an encounter with Europa, looking where Io is. Yeah, that was an encounter with Europa. All right. That wasn't actually even burning at periapsis, and we got quite far, farther than I expected we would, so let's try this again. Here we go. All right. Oh, we had an encounter there. We had an encounter there. We're aiming for that encounter again, and we're going to try to manage it. We're going to try to circularize and land on Io using that encounter. There we go. All right, have a look at Io. All right, it's not going to be... Io's quite small, so this is going to be interesting. And we will be moving fairly quickly in relation to it. So let's try this. We'll time warp to here. I messed that up. I time warped to the escape instead of the encounter. All right, well, it's fairly easy to get another one, so we'll just try it. We'll just try again. Apparently not, because it doesn't actually know what's happening. What mission am I on right now? I just want to land on Io. There's no reason for it. I've unlocked the entire tech tree. I just want to land on Io. That's not going to work. All right, do you know what? We're going to turn the rocket around again, and we're going to try lowering the orbit once more. Here we go. All right, and we're just going to warp around to the periapsis, and we'll try this again. All right, throttle up. Ah, we're out of fuel. Okay, well, we might as well separate the stage then. We'll try this. Yeah, that's the thing with trying those transfer windows, is the game doesn't actually know what's happening with them. And I tried to plunge us into Jupiter a few times. All right, that one looks like it might actually work. We'll try it. Well, now hang on. This is interesting. This is interesting. This is worth a shot. Okay, we did actually get an encounter there. So let's have a look at what the encounter is. All right, we'll try that. So this time, let's warp properly. We'll time warp to the encounter rather than the escape. See, and stuff like that is why I don't understand why it doesn't show us what our projected orbit's going to be, because, well, we can sometimes see what orbit around a... Let's see. I don't think we're going to be able to slow down enough. I just want to land on Io. I don't really see that happening. Rug and Romans. Oh, hello. You're new. Yeah, I just want to land on Io. I don't think we have the fuel for it. Well, that's frustrating. I definitely didn't fly as efficiently as I could have done, though. Let's try burning at periapsis. I don't really see this working, but it's worth a shot. Is there a Pluto in the game? Not... I'm pretty sure Jupiter's the farthest out that this game goes. Yeah. I mean, you can send stuff out farther, but... Yeah, it's nice to have fuel, but we don't. We'll just keep burning and see what happens. My guess is we'll end up stranded in space around Jupiter. Or if we're lucky, maybe we'll crash into one of its moons. Restore those more planets. Yeah, there's like mods and things that you can get, but I play the game pretty much unmodded. Okay, let's point to Io because I think that might actually help us from here. Oh, I think we might be able to capture. We're just not going to be able to land. We'll see about capturing. All right, there we go. We're in orbit. We may actually be able to land. You know what? Let's go ahead and try landing. We'll try to put this down. We're gonna have to land on the engine bell because my landing legs are on that stage that's flying off. Well, back into Jupiter orbit. We may actually be able to land here. Let's get into a 50-kilometer orbit. Actually, no. We'll go for a lower orbit. We'll aim for 15. Yeah, we'll try that. All right. There we go. Time warp to the periapsis. Bring it down. And then we're going to try to land. In fact, actually, yeah, let's just go straight for landing. So we'll do that. All right. Time warp until we can't. If it gives us a limit, it might not limit us. That could be a problem. Okay. Let's try to kill our horizontal velocity now. Oh, well, it's not giving us... Oh, here we go. Okay. So we've got 380 meters per second sideways. That should be quite easy to kill off. Five, four, three, two, one. All right, throttle down. There we go. All right, now we focus on vertical. That is not an efficient way to land, by the way. That's just the easy way to do it. And I just have the fuel because I'll be leaving this on Io. So, oh, we're landing on mountains. That's phenomenal. Let's try to just keep our velocity. Let's keep it from getting too high. Ah. Do I have landing legs? I did on the stage that's currently going back into around Jupiter. That's why this is staying. Oh goodness. Well, we landed. There we go. Okay. Well, we are on Io. Is it going to stop? Okay. We're on Io. We definitely can't get home. Alright, well, let's leave this on IO and try again. Okay, so we need a rescue mission now. So we'll hit continue build. I have an idea. Oops. Let me... Right, better idea. Just select the entire... No, because I want to take the fairing off. Alright. Okay, let's see. I've pretty much immediately forgotten what the actual plan was here. Oh, no I haven't. I know what I want to do. I'm going to do this, and we're basically just going to put this in a 6-wide fairing. And hope this doesn't have too many issues. Oops. Okay, there we go. So that's what we want to do, and then we want to go to 6-wide, and we want to put a vacuum engine on this. We'll go with one of these. Good. Reconnect that to there, and then I was going to say put a fairing back around it, but you know what, actually, instead of doing that, I could just do this, and that works. It's a very strange looking rocket. Alright. This used to be the fairings, so now that will be this stage. Good. And then before this engine can fire, we need to separate this. Actually, before we can do that, we need to have the fairings separate. We'll just do the bottom and the top. And then we do this. Then all the other staging should be able to stay the same, I believe. Thrust rate ratio is down to 1.37. That's still not too bad. Why am I there? Okay. This is a bit of a monster rocket, but let's try it. Okay. Go. This is a hell of a launch. Okay, separate the solids and keep going. As long as it works, yeah. We'll see if it even works. Okay, I'm also going to aim for the same type of angle that I usually aim for this time, because I think it is genuinely a more efficient way to fly than what the game asks you to do. So now that it says 20, I'm aiming for 10 degrees rather than 20. I used to do this when I was flying like the Falcon rockets, because it was a pretty good way to be able to ensure that the first stage would stay in space long enough for me to put the second stage into orbit and switch back to it before it burnt up. Also, it does seem to make more sense as well, because you can just kind of lightly tap, and it's a pretty consistent turn. Hello, Great Grandpa VR! That's quite a name, I love it. Alright, there go the boosters. Separate those. I need to check my staging here. Okay, we're all right. Oops, no, I want the map. We'll keep following mostly prograde for now. Alright, now I want to pitch over, get a nice steep trajectory. Yeah, don't worry about the apoapsis descending, that's actually what we want, because we want to get into orbit now. That means we want to push the periapsis up, the apoapsis can come down, that's okay. Separate the boosters. There we go. Technically, we should by now have separated the fairings as well, but that's fine. And this is why we need to not. Ah. Heavier rocket hadn't really accounted for that. That actually makes this a bit more challenging. You should even shut off the engines. Yeah, that's how I've been flying it. Once we get the periapsis up, turn the engines off, and then set a trajectory to Jupiter. I got what you meant. All right, we're in orbit. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, you can fly it in a trajectory so that once the apoapsis is above the Kármán line, you shut off the engines and you throttle up again at stage set. That's a pretty common way to fly rockets in games because it is more efficient. But I don't know. Most rockets in real life do a single burn into orbit, so I like doing it that way. Okay. Where is the transfer? All right. It's a pretty easy one. Check. I don't know. Okay, there we go. This is one heavy rocket to turn. There we go. All right. There we go. And engines on. Kilometer per second. Oh, I might not have it in this stage. That could be a problem because I've kind of just been adding engines and fuel, which, well, that's putting me against the rocket equation, isn't it? Where are the fairings? Geez, the fairings don't fire for a while. I might just... Bam, there we go. Fairings are gone. Oh, I think we just got an encounter with the moon. And we're out of fuel. So we separate and go again and hope for the best with this stage. And yeah, we've got an encounter with the moon. Are we going to be able to avoid the encounter with the moon? Oh, we're not. We're gonna just kind of blast straight past it. Let's hope we don't end up hitting the moon. Now we'll be okay. That could be problematic, actually. see. 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's see where the moon has put us relative to Jupiter. Okay, enter and escape. All right. Now, where is our orbit as far as Jupiter goes? Actually, that's... I'm not mad about that, you know. I do want to be on the other side of Jupiter, though. So... Where's my spaceship? There it is. Just turn the other way. Just like that. All right. Back to Jupiter. And we're just going to change our trajectory around it. Which shouldn't take too much fuel. There we go. All right. So... I don't know where Jupiter's atmosphere starts, but we're not in it, so that's all right. Well, I say Jupiter's atmosphere. Jupiter is entirely atmosphere, but you know, the game marks a different. I'm not sure why it does, but it marks a differentiation between planet and atmosphere. So, all right, and which direction are we entering on? The left. So, let's warp to here, and now we wait. Which as the height goes up. All right. We're in Jupiter's sphere of influence. We're going to go point the rocket left. Once again, we're going to end up trying to land with a less than ideal stage, but what can you do? All right, time warp to here. Because this stage might be able to circularize us around Jupiter, but it's not going to be able to do much else for us.
You can build a better rocket.
All right, throttle up. Okay, we're captured. Our shaft pops just come down. Yeah, we're not going to be as well off this time as we were last time doing this. That's a bit of a problem because our rocket hasn't changed much. No, it hasn't really changed much, has it? Well, we'll separate stages. Oh. All right, separate that stage. And now we're stuck with this in orbit again. So... all right. Try again. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Oh, I need to... Oh, for goodness sakes. I forgot to turn on friggin' Do Not Disturb, which is being a pain. All right. We'll start with that. And then we'll try it again. All right, throttle up. If I get an encounter with Europa, we'll see what happens with it. Ah, well, okay, that was a pathetic encounter.
Europa? Man, the British Empire is
all right, let's do that. And then we'll try this again. Time warp around to here. And throttle up again. Oh, we had an encounter there. So I'm going to aim to recapture that encounter. Out of fuel, expected. Alright, check the encounter here. Alright. Time warp to the encounter. What happens if you land on Jupiter? I've tried it before in Sandbox, and you just kind of burn up. You can't physically use enough heat shields to avoid it. I've tried this. I'm speaking from experience, so... Alright. Throttle up. Do you know what? Actually, it's probably going to be more effective if we try to start slowing down here. Because I know that we have the Delta V to do it, because I've done it before already. And we actually have more this time, I believe, than we did last time. So let's try this. We'll do this. And then, yeah, because I'm pointing kind of inwards towards Europa, that should help us kind of curve it around, I think. I don't know. I suspect I'll still be landing on Europa. Maybe I just actually haven't built a big enough rocket. That is entirely possible. So we could always add more stages to it if we need to. I should say this is going to be the last flight of this video, regardless of the result. This stream, rather. So, yeah, whether or not we manage... Well, we're not going to manage to get back to Earth from this, but... This is going to be the last flight of the stream just because I'm kind of out of time, so we'll go with this, and then, yeah. I'm going to try again in the future. Really does not want to slow down, does it? Oh, well, we are still moving 1900 meters per second, so that does kind of explain it. Yeah, this is going to have the same result that we had last time. So, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to end the video here. So, thank you so much for watching this. If you've enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It means the world to me. If you have already subscribed to one of my favorites, I love you. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.